matter has immanent powers of morphogenesis. Matter, and immanent basically means precisely that it doesn't receive those powers from somewhere else, from some other space. That matter is in itself capable of generating form. And so the entire theory of morphogenesis is one of the subjects that a lot of French theorists, from Henri Poincaré at the turn of the century to Henri Bergson, then René Thom and Mandelbrot, the inventor of fractals in the 1960s. Many French people, and this was in the air in the 60s when Deleuze began writing his books on morphogenesis, difference and repetition and logic of sense, have become seduced by these new conceptions of matter, and have found in this respect of material morphogenesis a source of inspiration and for artistic creativity. Today, of course, we know a lot more about process of morphogenesis, both the morphogenesis of, say, thunderstorms and tornadoes, the morphogenesis, the incredibly complex process that transforms a fertilized egg into a bunch of cells, which then by themselves begin migrating and becoming bone, or migrating outwards and becoming muscle. Certain cells that come together pulsating and eventually become a heart. And how slowly and without any psychic divine intervention, a single cell can indeed become a baby. But he says the moment that's crucial is the moment right before all those organs have formed. That is the moment in which the fetus is still what he calls a body without organs. The concept of a body without organs is precisely that. Matter inhabited by pure intensities, capable without any prior organization, without any prior biological, physical, or even chemical organization to express itself. A good example of a body without organs, once I gave my students the other day, imagine those maps that you see every night on your meteorology, on the weather report, in which you see not the coastlines and the areas of the territories and the territorialized part of the earth, which is of course the different countries with their different coastlines and so on, but simply the highs and lows of pressure, the warm fronts and cold fronts of temperature, the masses of air moving at one speed and some moving at a slower speed, some moving at a faster speed. Temperature, pressure, speed are expressive intensities. We of course feel them. We can feel a very hot, warm summer day in which the humidity is very intense and very concentrated, and we can also feel a crisp fall day in which there's not a single drop of water and the temperature is just right. But regardless of there being humans there to feel and interpret and enjoy these moments, the very existence of intensive differences causes things to be born, causes morphogenesis. It is from the clashes between those highs and lows of pressure, between those warm fronts and those cold fronts, between those slow masses of air and those rapid masses of air, that every single phenomenon in the atmosphere is born, from hurricanes and tornadoes to clouds, wind currents like the jet stream, and so on. And he traces that world of differences, the world of expressive differences, to the fetus, because it's also the fetus also develops through different concentrations of chemicals, different densities of temperature and pressure within the developing embryo, and the migrating cells that become bone, the migrating cells that eventually become a brain, the migrating cells that eventually take a limb and get fingers out of it. All of those are following differences in intensity. That's why that process can proceed spontaneously without the need for some psychic agency to guide it. It is his admiration for the creativity, the spontaneous creativity of matter, the capacities of matter for self-organization, that pulls him away from the human. He could have stayed just a pure human philosopher and feel proud of his tradition and be connected to other philosophers and just feel human all to human. But he went out there in search of Spinoza, he went out there in search of Nietzsche, he went out there in search of all those nomad philosophers who refuse to belong to humanity, who refuse to say, all I am is human. I want to be a rock. I want to be a mountain. I want to be air circulating. I want to be a bird singing. He wanted to follow and to find those philosophers, and he did. Well, Spinoza, Nietzsche, some of the scholastics, even some pre-Socratic philosophers had those feelings, had those emotions, had enjoyed and allowed those emotions to well up in themselves by confronting this non-human expressivity in nature. So when Deleuze then recommends that we engage in becomings, that we leave behind the straitjacket of our humanity, he's not necessarily denying that we also need that humanity in order to fight political fights, or in order to intervene in reality to obtain some rights from the government. That sometimes we may need to be humans in order to get certain conditions for humans that are better than what we were before. It's just that he says, do not spend all your time being human. Your dreams are already a larval form of thought. You are already every night being forced to become non-human. Now try to bring that which happens spontaneously in your brain every night, that morphogenesis of the dream. Remember that to Deleuze, dreams were not edible. Doesn't matter what Freud said, he denied that they were edible. He denied that that tunnel is a vagina and that train is a penis, or this stands for my daddy and this stands for my mommy. What he wanted to know is be completely amazed at the fact that every night you have a different dream, that the plots change, that the characters change, that your brain is filled with morphogenesis spontaneously, since you're obviously not directing what dreams you have, and you're simply caught in that storm that is your dreams every night. Your brain is capable of that. Your brain has gotten that capability from the matter that it is made out of, and we share that capability with every material object. So don't just use your dreams as a source of inspiration. Use every process of morphogenesis out there as a source of inspiration in order to join that giant chorus of birds singing, of birds displaying their colors, of birds using silhouette and position and posture to express themselves. Join that giant chorus in a praising of life, in an affirmation of life. Thank you very much.